So this week it's been a week of change. The only thing constant in life is change, and as the shrub rose comes into its first bloom, I watch the climbing rose fading away. Change makes way for new growth. I know this, I'm a gardener, but sometimes change is harder, and this week it's been harder than most. Those moments where change grows sneaky fingers that begin to unknot apron strings. This is the change that makes my heart break a little. I tied those apron strings so carefully, with so much love and intent poured into them, that their unknotting seems like a tragedy. So as fennel reaches for the sky, this is the week that Poppy finished at high school. Next for her, the excitement of sixth form, spreading her wings and flying. So I've spent the week trying to decipher a new school run, the ever-changing school run. And this time the school run's trickier because there is a big change. Her sixth form now is not on our doorstep, but it's here in Stratford. Stratford upon Avon, the birthplace of Shakespeare. It would seem change is in the air for all of us. And I realise that if I resist it too hard, I'm going to turn it from a celebration into an emotional crisis. This installation called Roots by the banks of the Avon seems so apt as I ponder all these thoughts, inspired by the memory of a forest that once was there giving us shelter. It's a piece about memories giving shelter. Perhaps my memories of mothering my children as little will give me shelter one day too, as long as I don't cling too hard. Cling too tight, a closing down. I think we often rush to stabilise the things that we love the most, forgetting that the one constant in life is change. But by trying to stabilise and stop change, we're forgetting the circle, the flow of life. So now the challenge of literally learning to go with the flow. The challenge of so clearly being able to see the magic in the everyday, and yet trying to be okay with it slipping through your fingers with time, like a river flowing by. Time slips by, doesn't it? I wrote in my journal this week, "Don't be Gollum," across a double page spread, as I realised this week that I do grasp life, and it's not good for any of us. Those apron strings soon become chains for us all if grasped too tightly. Much better to step onto the bridge willingly to cross into new spaces. I crossed the bridge with all of this going through my mind and found a beautiful garden the other side, next to some wonderful statues celebrating creativity and the theatre, atop of which sat the bard himself, Shakespeare, staring down at me in my tizzy about apron strings. I wonder what story he would write about this. The garden he looks down on, real emperor energy, a square within squares, four corners, control of an empire. Was Shakespeare mocking me as my empire feels like it's crumbling? But then the garden behind the sculptures beckons me, free flowing, much more wild, my type of garden. It made me think, why am I so scared of losing the structure? The ghosts of the alliums that once were flowers whispered to me, the past will still all be there in this new space. Nothing is being taken away from you. Stop clinging. Go with the flow. You are empress. You are mother, not emperor, not ruler. You've always been a team. This is a river that flows and changes. Allium ghosts, whispering that my memories will indeed become shelters. This isn't a losing, this is a gaining. This is a celebration. It's one that I have already experienced this year, decluttering, letting go of things, stepping into new space. Even this very week I'd been decluttering in my bedroom and sorting brand new decks out, stepping into change. So I've realised that even in the decluttering process, there is a reluctance for me to accept change and to let go of things. I suppose that's the start of beginning to hoard. But I wonder if I showed you this cabinet now. Now this used to be absolutely full of decks which I've still got, but I've organised somewhere else because I wanted to visually let go of all the clutter. And now look at it, look at these shelves, it's just amazing. So I've got my Lego evil door, which I made with the kids ages ago, which I love, and my Lego tarot card stand, which I made. I've got Penny Clip Clop and my little troll from a good friend. And then my birthday present to myself, this set of vintage dolls, which was a birthday present to myself, I think about 3 years ago, but each with either crystals or found stones and painted stones that I did with the kids. I've got my pull along piggy that plays the xylophone as he's dragged along, and a painting that Poppy did for me, alongside an egg which I use for spell work for the kids, so that's really precious. And then coming down here, let me grab a seat. So I've got this is a piece of driftwood that we found on the beach, which I love. I've got my very first Barbie fashionista, who I just really got connected with, even though she's a little cheap doll. Her necklace says love. She's all about self-love. I've got my moon doll as well, a cup that I painted, my latest doll, a thrifted OMG girl. Look at her, isn't she absolutely gorgeous? She was one that I really wanted, and then I found her thrifted, so she's out to play. Got some decks I found in a charity shop as well, those are to share later. And my latest tarot reading, which I pulled last night, this was a review of the day reading. A change of decks, new decks for me. This card here is from the Mother Mary Oracle, which is a new version of the Mother Mary Oracle. It's the mini version, which I love. This was a gift from Rumour, and I have pulled it for a review card with another new deck to me, the tarot, the Moon Garden Tarot, or Tarot of a Moon Garden, I think it is. Yeah, it is. Alongside some other new cards. That this is the Feel Your Chakras Oracle vintage edition, which was a gift which I shared in my last video. I pulled some chakra cards for the week, and this is a new deck as well, which I am also working with Tarot of a Moon Garden. This is the Findhorn Oracle. So there's newness going on over here and a change, new decks, takes a change of decks, but even in that, even in swapping over decks, I feel a reluctance. But I've done it this week. I did it. I'm beginning to embrace that idea of letting go and bringing in the new, of trusting in the future story, of having trust. And look, oh my gosh, I've just realised that this is one of the 3 chakra cards I pulled. An underactive crown chakra. I sense a lack of trust in the universe. Oh my gosh, I've just had the biggest aha moment. It's a lack of trust in future stories. I think because the tower has come crashing down so many times for me in areas that are so important. I think I do have a lack of trust. I think I just had a aha moment. I wanted to show you this trolley. So this I found on the side of the road on the school run. Can you believe it? I pulled the car over to wait for the kids, and there was a big pile of somebody's rubbish. Somebody just dumped a load of rubbish by the side of the road, and on the top of it was this trolley, and I got out and I had a look at it, and it is absolutely brilliant. It's all working. It was absolutely clean. It's got all its wheels. It's got 3 pull-out trays, as you can see. And shall I show you what's on the trolley? I think I might show you what's on the trolley because I changed this out yesterday. I hadn't changed out my spring decks, and I decided to change it out for summer decks. And I have been looking for pairs, new pairs. So shall I show you this now? Shall I? Or shall I do this in another video? So there is a tarot trolley video coming next with all of that change out of decks. Changes everywhere. But for now, these are the 3 decks I've been using, along with some bibliomancy. Look what I flick to. I am gentle and kind with myself as I grow and change. That call to change again, and choices of our thoughts. Are we clinging to the truth of what's happening? The Queen of Swords asked. Our Lady of Promise says that as you labour towards a peaceful resolution and become willing and capable of stepping into the freedom of a new cycle of your destiny, her light is there. Her promise is urging you onward, no matter what is happening for you right now. The deep truth of what is unfolding is her promise of a new life. A new life, and a nest on the front of the card as well. Stepping into a new truth of what is unfolding. The Queen of Swords and truth. In this oracle, I pulled this trust card for the first 3 draws of the deck. 3 times I pulled the trust card. And then a lack of trust in the universe, the chakra deck tells me. There is just a call from these cards pulled throughout the day and the flicking of the book to be truthful about what the change may bring, but to trust that things will work out. Use your creativity, use your voice, check your body language with truth. Be generous and kind to yourself, but above all else in change, trust. This is a call to go with the flow, to understand that change can bring wonders, not just difficulty. Before I go to bed, I pull another card reading about how to trust. I always think that I need the hows with tarot, and I often pull a how-to reading once I have the message. The key component is gratitude, to be grateful for everything. I go on and pull more cards around this idea of how to trust. I use the Moon Garden deck again. The death card comes out, of course it does. This is a period of the mini deaths of life. That's what changes are, I feel. And the moon being confused by it all, but the underlying energy of the sun and the moon next to each other. I want to pull some chakra cards again. I'm not quite sure what I'm doing yet, but as I shuffle, the deck whispers to me, just pull a card for every tarot you have in front of you. The message will come. I trust the whisper and pull the cards. And finally, a Mother Mary card for guidance leaps across the desk at me. There are lots of cards in front of me here. I need to lay them out and think on them overnight. So these are the cards I pulled yesterday about trust. That was such a revelation that I'm struggling with change because of lack of trust. I know I'm not the only one that has had many tower moments and betrayals and unexpected things happen, and has now got difficulty in trusting, of moving into new phases, because we've learnt that the worst does happen. Clinging to life to keep things the same, I suppose a claim for safety that the most wounded of us tend to fight for and be more aware of, that need for safety. How to improve my trust in the universe and the trust in future situations being okay. This is a message for me and for all of us. Look at the underlying energy. The card at the bottom of the deck, for starters, the sun. It's going to be okay. Things work out. It's fine. I pulled these Feel Your Chakras Oracle cards. I didn't quite know what I was doing pulling these until a little whisper said, just pull one for every card and then the message will come. And look, I feel like I radiate warmth. That's the underlying energy, the sun radiating warmth. If you compare that with the moon card, I see, but I am unable to self-reflect. The moon is definitely unable to self-reflect. It has no light of its own, but the sun radiates warmth. So the moon, unknown paths, this is where anxiety comes in. But I'm unable to self-reflect, possibly because I just don't know yet. So stop thinking it's all going to go bad, because your underlying energy is the sun. It could be the best thing ever. Queen of Swords came up yesterday with the message of look for truth. Is it true that it's all going to go bad? Definitely are in one of these mini deaths. I think life is full of mini deaths where changes happen, and I feel bored in this. Perhaps I'm scared that when they've all left home I'll have nothing to do. I won't have a life of my own. I have no inner light coming out of me anymore. I'm scared about nothingness. When we go to our general oracle message, it says appreciation. The key to all life is gratitude. Gratitude, warmth, making sure that my loving personality isn't lost in the worry of this. To appreciate everything. My Mother Mary card says sometimes we need signs from spirit to help us remain devoted to our sacred life path when evidence of success in the physical realm eludes us. So we've got no evidence yet in the physical realm that this is going to work out, but just stick to your sacred life path. And for me, that is one about curiosity, creativity, loving people. So even though we're not sure yet, stick to that. Be grateful for everything. There is an art to detaching from outcome while still doing everything within your power to commit yourself to what matters to your heart. Blessings are taking shape. Although you cannot see it now, your soul is pulling off a masterstroke of a healing manifestation. So to trust in this process of change, it's a healing journey. It does not need to be seen. as a change that steals things from me. Within the swirling chaos of change, there is also the potential for healing and growth, even though you can't see it yet. This is backed up over here by the Knight of Cups, my card of pouring love into things. I love and heart unconditionally. Unconditional love, that's what my life is about. And here, the Six of Pentacles, gifts. I love the fact that this figure's arms outstretched. In my journaling, I kept picturing Gollum holding onto the ring, going, my precious, my precious. That's what I felt I was doing to life. I said that I wrote in my journal, don't be Gollum, all across a double page spread. I could feel myself hunching over, grabbing arms around things, making myself smaller in the fear of change. This person is arms wide open, expansion, giving gifts. The butterfly there saying that transformation is coming. Keep embracing all of life and giving gifts. And the card that went with that said, have a warm personality. There's a lot here about warmth. Warmth with the sun. I radiate warmth, have a warm personality, unconditional love, trust, appreciation, all the things that I live for. Along with the mini death, there's an acknowledgement of the change here. And bored, is it going to throw you into a state of unimportance, no life? And the moon, but you don't know yet. You're unable to self-reflect on what this change will bring. You don't know yet. So mine it for gold. Keep appreciating and being grateful. This is a great message for those of us falling into the fear of a new phase, our mini deaths. Let's look into the swirling chaos of mini deaths to see that flow state of change. Within that flow, it's not all dark. It only becomes a tsunami when we cling to it, put up blocks to it. If we go with the flow and see the full colours within the chaos, we can see the gifts there waiting for us. So keep grateful, keep a warm heart. There could be healing manifestation hidden within the river's changing flow. And so with a grateful heart, mining the darkness of the chaos of change for the golden healing moments, I take my gorgeous Poppy, now not in school, on a visit to the David Austin Rose Gardens with sculptures by his wife throughout the garden. This is so beautiful to visit, and this wouldn't be possible if Poppy hadn't hit this time of change, if things in my life weren't in chaos. A one-to-one trip with my middle daughter is a very rare thing indeed. We giggled, we laughed, and we stopped to smell the flowers. It just goes to show that when change comes knocking, it's not all bad. I think life is like this sort of garden, a garden with different rooms, different chapters. When I look back on my life, it feels like lots of mini lives. The changes in my life have been huge and defining, not a gentle curve, more a leap from cliff after cliff. But this garden feels the same. There are different gardens, different doorways to walk through. And if change comes with portals covered in climbing roses, I'll be all for the change. and I get to plant the roses. So it's all good. So in a week of change where I buy new roses, this is my fairy tale rose which I bought. I think it's been quite a journey over a week, a journey from chaos and darkness into the potential of future hope. I hope that you enjoyed watching, and I'll leave you in the rose gardens.